Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with another one. It is the Authority Project. I am Brian S. Arnold here, and I have my new good friend here, Dan Rochon, in the virtual building today. And he says he's going to show us the 4 pillars of success for salespeople. Is that right, Dan?
Yes, sir. I will be doing that today.
All right. Well, we shall see. We shall see on this amazing episode of the Authority Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of the Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
All right, we are back with another one. It is the Authority Project. I am Brian S. Arnold here, and you are the project. We want to slap authority to your name so you can sell more of what you're great at. And we have Dan Rochon here in the virtual building today. How you doing, my friend?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me today, Brian.
Awesome. Excited to know what these 4 pillars are all about. But before we get started, please tell the people who are watching and listening later what you, Dan Rochon, who are you? Who are you personally and then professionally?
Oh, well, my name's Dan Rochon. Personally, I am a husband and a father of my beautiful daughter, Maggie, and my beautiful wife, Tracy.
Nice.
I live in Clifton, Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C., and I just love life, man. I love life. That's I would say that's one of the and I study human potential. That's something that I really enjoy doing.
Amazing. Okay, and one last question before we dive into the 4 pillars. What is your daily routine? What does that look like?
Oh, goodness. I'm, as I get older, I am a much more regimented than I was when I was younger. Yeah. And I get up pretty early. I get up probably around 4:30 or so. And I know that sounds crazy for a lot of people. Once upon a time, I thought that was crazy. And, each morning I live on a beautiful property here. So I always look outside and express some gratitude for where I live. And typically I'll read and I'll journal, I'll think, I'll write sometimes, and go to the gym, and then I start my work day at 8:30, and I work till 6 p.m. and 6 p.m. I clock out. I'm a business entrepreneur, but yet I treat it like a job, almost like punching in and out 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and I spend the time with my family and play some games or watch some Netflix, and then go to bed and do it the same next day.
That sounds like a great day, man. So let's get right to it. I am anxious to hear about these 4 pillars of success for salespeople. Let's go. Let's start with the first one. Let's go. Sure.
Well, before you talk about the pillars of success, you have to understand that success is a perception. All right. Mm-hmm. And so I want to give like a little asterisk or a little disclaimer to these pillars, which is, for each one of us, we each have our own definition of success, whether that be within your business or within your personal life, your spiritual life, your physicality, whatever it may be. So what I've created, or what I've defined and outlined, is the 4 pillars that I think will allow for you to be able to have success in your business if you're looking to have a profitable business, and if you're looking to have a business that can sustain with or without you. Which is my definition of business success. And so the first pillar of those pillar of success is what I call CPI time. And CPI time equals ROI. So CPI stands for consistent and predictable income. So these are the 5 activities that you would do that would generate money. Okay, because as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, we know that there's 1,000,001 things that are pulling at us at all given times.
Yes.
And it's sometimes hard to understand, like, what is it that I can do that is the most important? And so those 5 things that I've outlined are to lead generate. So regardless if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, I'm a real estate agent coach, whether if you're a professional podcaster helping create people to get authority, if you don't have business, if you don't understand that you're in the business to generate business, then you're going to have limited success. So first is to lead generate, then it's to convert those leads to an appointment, attend the appointment with the intention to get hired. And if negotiation is appropriate for your business, it would be to negotiate. And then finally, it would be to description role play. So now it's understanding what to say to a prospective client, how to help and serve a client, what are the potential objections that you may have, because when you understand how to handle them, then you're able to then communicate at a higher level, because now you can actively listen. Because if I'm all wrapped up in my mind about, Brian's going to ask me this question or that question, and I'm worried about what he's going to ask me, then I can't be 100% present to the conversation. So when you practice the predictable objections in your business, the predictable things that a client will ask you, then if you practice how to answer those through your description role play, then you'll be better equipped to be able to communicate at a higher level, because you'll be able to be in rapport, you'll be able to ask adept questions, and you'll be able to actively listen.
Okay, so is that all?
That's number one, man. That's number one.
That's a whole lot. Number one. Okay, because I was
CPI time. CPI time is number one. So what are the 5 things to spend your time on? CPI time. Lead generate, convert, go on appointments, negotiate, description, role play. Those are the 5.
Wow. Okay. I might have a question off of that, but go ahead with number 2. Go ahead, number 2, and I'll come back to it.
So number 2 is an expression or an expansion on the first part of CPI time, which is to lead generate. And that is to be able to focus on, how could I instantaneously fill my pipeline? Because when you understand how to fill that pipeline, and you understand that sales is a process, and every single business requires that process of having more people that are taking a look at you. For example, if you want to create authority in the marketplace, well, maybe you have to create authority with 100 people for 10 people to look at your business for 1 person to hire you. I don't know what the numbers are, right? It's going to be unique to each one of us, right? But the second pillar is to be able to fill that pipeline with opportunity and to do so consistently.
Great stuff. Okay, so I'm liking this. Okay, so let's got the pipeline going. What's number 3?
Master skills of communication. Okay, so to be able to, I mentioned it earlier, my definition of communication is that communication is the response that you get. And so to be able to communicate at a high level, it would first to be in rapport, which is a connectivity. Rapport is being connected energetically with another human being. And then ask adept questions. Ask questions that are meaningful depending on what your business is, what your niche is. Yet ask questions to be able to dive deep into what's important to somebody. What are they afraid of? What are their deep desires? And then actively listen. So again, be in rapport, ask adept questions, and actively listen. So that is the master skills of communication.
Great. And one last one. Let's go. Go with the last one.
Evolve to scale.
Okay.
So many business owners start off as the business of one.
Yeah.
And there's a real hard limitation on that business of one, which is time. Yeah. Right? Maybe you want to plan for your family reunion, or maybe you have something on your plate that's outside your business that you want to be able to work on. And so to be able to understand how can you leverage, remember those 5 things in CPI time, and we talked about those 1,000,001 other things that have to happen in a business. Well, now how do you leverage those off? And you could do so by creating and using the right systems and being involved with the right people to be able to help you to achieve your goals as a business owner.
Okay, great. So let me jump back to, I think, part of the communication or learning how to understand the objections.
Sure.
How do we discover the objections? How do we go about researching what to know, how to get those objections and how to answer them? How does that work?
Well, the second part of that is how to answer them. I think what you have to do is you have to do the first part of what your question is which to identify them.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's less about handling the objections than it is than proactively avoiding the objections. Because I feel as though if I get an objection, then that what that means is that I missed a step through a sales process. So now, what are the objections you're going to get? That's going to be unique to your business. And so I would recommend to mastermind with some colleagues within, the same sort of niche that you're in, the same sort of business that you're in, and just ask. Google, what are the objections that somebody gets to being an authority in their business? What, if you're selling a pen, what are the objections that a pen buyer would have? Those are the types of questions that you have. And then once you understand what the objections are, now you can proactively handle those objections before they occur. So really, to me, it's about understanding what they are and then handling them up front, because then they never show up.
Okay, give me a more deeper with that, Dan. Give me deeper with that.
Sure.
How many hours should somebody be working on knowing these objections? Or is there a time when you learn the objections, you got it, and then you're good to go? Or is there a learning process that you go through daily as far as that is concerned?
So I added up in a year's time, I spend 40 full days each year, wow, either in a learning environment, at a conference, or teaching. So and I consider teaching as learning. Teaching is actually the highest pinnacle of learning.
Okay.
And so for me, 40 days a year, I'm learning. Now, is that all about the objections? No. Yet, earlier on in my career, it certainly was. Today, I'm learning different things. Today, I'm learning about how to scale, how to train, lead, motivate, recruit, select, those types of things, and, be profitable. But I would say early on, it's pretty important. That's one of the 5 of CPI time is scripts and role play. So that's one of your 5 things that actually make you money. So I would say that you should consider put a pretty significant amount of time into it. As you grow and as you develop, then you could start putting less time into it, because, at some point, every single business, there's only so many objections that you're going to get. You already know what the client's going to say, what the prospective client's going to say. And, after you do it for so long and practice for so long. And so early on, I would say pretty significant amount of time. And then through time, as you get comfortable with it.
I gotta give you a little wrinkle, because obviously this is more focused with solopreneurs and thought leaders and so forth. What about if you're in a particular company and you're a salesperson, they give you a script and you're not jiving with this script?
Yeah.
How do you get around trying to be, who you are with the script and assimilating the person, the salesperson that you want to be, as opposed to the script that they're giving you?
First of all, you have to understand, and what most leaders don't understand. So say you're leading an organization and you find a script, you give it to somebody, a salesperson. You say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Salesperson, use this script. Well, that script probably does work, yet what most leaders don't take the time to do is understand, why does it work? What is the neuro-linguistic psychology behind it? Behind the persuasion tactics, behind the psychology of it. Okay, so for me, it's about a script is just a pattern of communication. We all have scripts. Mm-hmm. Your wife asks you to take out the trash. Oh, honey, I'm sick. That's a script. Okay, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just a script. You make a phone call. My dad and we have the same script. When we, hey, Dad, it's Dan. Right? Like I start the conversation the same way every single time.
Yeah,
that's a script. So for that person that maybe someone's asking you to deliver a script and you're not entirely in tune with the script, what I suggest is to use that as a skeleton. Okay, because for me, the script is just a skeleton for the conversation. What's more important is that you and I could be in rapport. And for us to be in rapport, what I have to do is I have to really, truly be intentional to be able to be connected with you. And what I find is that when I'm able to be connected with you, and then I have, okay, here's a certain order of words that when you use these words in this order, it will create this outcome. Now you could be more effective in your communication. Okay, so again, it's going to be dependent. I mean, if you got a boss that says, "Hey, you could only say this, and that's all you can say," and quite frankly, if you're not comfortable with that, maybe you're not in the right environment. I mean, maybe that's the reality of it, right?
Right. Right. So, what about creating your own script? I can just imagine people on here now thinking about, I want to go out and prospect. I don't really have a script or anything. You have these cookie cutter scripts that they, you hear about. I'm not even gonna go through it. Why don't you tell us? Like, is there a universal script that you work off of that is good for any industry, or is this something that you create over time by just talking to people?
Both. I think, before I sold real estate, I was a waiter at a really high-end steakhouse in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
That was more than 15 years ago.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you, Brian, this steak dry age for 21 days. Wow. It puts the water, gets condensed in there, and the T-bone, you got the best of both worlds. You got the tenderness on one side of the T-bone and the sirloin on the other. It just melts in your mouth. I haven't said that for 16 years. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. That's a script that once upon a time in my life I used to sell a steak.
Yeah.
And what I did at that time in my life was, I had this box of scripts, and okay, here's a way you could describe the porterhouse. Here's a way that you could describe the whatever. And then I would observe, and I would say what worked. All right, because if I said something and it worked, I would try it again. Yeah. And if it worked again, I'm going to put that arrow in my I'm going to put that in my back, and I'm going to pull that out again. But if I tried something and it didn't work, maybe I try it one more time. If it doesn't work a second time, we say, no, let's scrap that one. That one doesn't work. Okay. And then you start noticing what does work and what doesn't work, which goes back to accommodate your personality, like what you were asking about before.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it does start with, here's some universal truths about communication. Here's some universal truths about persuasion. About getting somebody to say yes to you. All right. And now that you understand those universal truths, now you sort of try your own little things to add on to it, and you just observe. All right. But you have to be intentional, right? Because you have to notice what does work and what doesn't work, and then just do more of what works.
Yeah. Gotcha. So let's break this down real quick, because I know we want to understand more about these pillars, or we don't have that much time, but can you go over one just really quick again, the 4 pillars, and then tell me, of those 4 pillars, is there one of them that if you just get this one pillar right, you're ahead of the game among the rest of the crowd?
Pillar 1 is CPI time. That's how to spend your time to make money. Pillar 2 is, once you know CPI time, is how to instantly find business. Pillar 3, now that we know how to spend our time and how to find business, now we want to master our persuasion, understand how to get people to do what's in their best interest. Yeah. And number 4 is to evolve to scale. The beginning, those are taught in a way, I'm communicating those in a way that one starts first and they build upon each other. And even when you look at the CPI time, I break that down into 5 segments there. Number 1, lead generation. So if I was to sit there and say, if you took one thing and one thing out of this entire conversation, to say what's the most important thing, such that when I do it, everything else becomes either easier or unnecessary, it would be to seek to find opportunities for somebody to hire you.
Wow. I would love to know. So I'd love to know about the seeking part, right? Because you need to know where your audience is, where your customers are. If we're going to be the salesperson, isn't that part of the whole thought process here?
Yeah, well, identify who your client is. Absolutely.
So is there a process to that? What's the process that I'm going to go ahead and find some customers?
Yeah.
Do you like local? Do you like going to the social channels?
Yeah.
Where should we be going to find our customers?
All right. So first of all, you have to understand, what are the methodologies to lead generate? There's two. The first one is to prospect. The second is to market. They both cost you something. Marketing costs you money. Prospecting costs you time. If you're new in business, you probably have more time than money. So if that's true, then you want to approach business initially with going out and seeking business through devoting your time. Yeah. Now, there's about 15 different ways of how you could spend your time to find business, and that's going to be unique to your, to your niche, to your business. And as you go and you identify, well, what are the 15 or 20 or however different many ways that I could spend my time to look for business? Networking, advertising on social media, posting on social media, speaking on a podcast, becoming an authority, whatever the case may be. What my recommendation is to identify one short-term methodology that will generate you business today that you love to do. Because if I gave you 15 different ways to find business, you may sit there and say, you know what? I'm not so interested in going to a networking mixer every Thursday night. Like, that doesn't sound like that's not me. All right. Now, for me, it is actually me, right? But maybe that's not you. And if that's not you, then what I'm going to say is don't do it. Yeah. Do something else. But guess what? You got to do something. Okay. So you don't have a choice to not seek business, yet you do have a choice of how do you seek business. And for me, the answer to that is, which of these different ways that you can find business do you love? Are you passionate? Or at the very least, do you, I guess, hate the least, right? Because if you hate it, you're not going to do it. Even if it's effective, you're not going to do it. And so I would say do one short-term strategy and then one long-term strategy. That long-term strategy is going to put a moat around your business. It's going to protect you against things like commoditization, artificial intelligence, big data, and technology. Those are the threats that are commonplace in every industry today. And to be able to protect you against that, you need a long-term business plan. A long-term business plan is going to rely on repeat customers. It's going to rely on fans, advocates, people that trust, know you. That's your long-term play. Yeah. But it takes a second to get that up and running. Yeah. If today's day one, you're a wine salesperson. You open up shop today and you put your lights on. Well, no one's been there before. Right. You don't have any repeat customers. Okay, so you have to figure out how am I going to get business today? And maybe you was Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He was a wine salesman. Man, there you go. I didn't mean to do that. That's a great role model of how can you get business today selling wine. There it is right there. And and then through time, then you can you can have that sustainability.
Well, let's stay right there. I was going to give a different example, but let's stay with the wine. Okay, so I sell wine, right?
Hey, all right.
Example. This is an example. I don't sell wine.
I was going to say, man, come on.
I sell wine. You sell wine.
Yeah.
How do you sell that people? How do you sell in a way that people are going to want to go to buy from you instead of me? Same pricing. Is it that you lower your price? Is there a way to, say that this come to me because I do this, that, and the other?
Yeah.
What is that formula? What is that key?
It's going to depend. When you look at price, though, price is only a factor in the absence of a perceived value. Because you can sit there and there's people that will pay $1,000 for a bottle of wine. Yeah. Okay. I don't actually drink, right? But there's if I did drink, I don't think I would pay $1,000 for a bottle of wine.
Right.
Okay. There's not a value in that to me. Okay. So it's all about the perceived value. Okay. Pricing only comes up if there's a lack of perceived value. So that's going to be unique to each one of our industries. Okay, so then it's sitting there saying, is it a wine shop? Well, maybe you have a jazz guitarist or musician that comes out and plays on a Thursday night, right? That could be a perceived value. That's pretty cool. Like what other wine shop has a jazz guy that comes out on Thursday nights?
True.
It could be the ambiance. It could be the location. It could be the price. Yet understand that price is, people only shop on price. That's commoditization and the lack of a perceived value.
I like that. You remind me of this. This reminds me of the other day I was at the grocery store, and there was this ice cream in there. It was like $1 off, right? It's like a quarter. It's like a little, was it a pint maybe? It was usually $6.19. It was $5.19 now today. I was like, let me read the description to see exactly what they're talking about. And I guess they said they put more eggs in their ice cream, and it almost got me. And I might go. I actually might go back and get it. If I have to be totally honest with you, but they put something on their description that made me think, wow, this could be better than what I'm usually buying at the store. I could actually pay more than that because I'm usually a cheapskate. I usually don't want to buy more than $3 for a pint. But I might do that if I think that this has a more perceived value or taste, that they've done more for this particular ice cream than someone else.
Or if it has scarcity.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different things that are. So now we're getting into persuasiveness, reciprocity, scarcity, consistency.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, for example, I'll give you consistency. Say you go and you buy Ben and Jerry's every single day, or not every single day. Let's right. Every single 2 weeks, whatever. Okay. Yeah. Like that's your go-to. Well, you're going to be less likely to try mom and pop ice cream because there's a consistency that you're already buying the same product. And now let's say Ben and Jerry's raises it 50 cents a pint. You may not even notice. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, right? But these are some different laws of persuasion to be able to get people to take action. And what you're talking about is going back again to that perceived value, right? And it could be limited edition. It could be, buy one, get one free. There's so many different ways that you could be able to sell, and that could be a product or a service.
Great stuff. We can go on for a while, but we're about done. Dan. I'm sorry, but we have one last question.
Okay.
One last question before we get out of here. And I want to I ask this of all of my guests, go something like this. There are people who are watching right now, they'll be listening later, and they want to know, how you do this thing here. Like they have similar journey, similar interest. They want to be like Dan, right? So can you tell them in your own words, and I'll put you front and center once more, how they can become an authority in this space?
Have confidence in yourself, have an expertise in yourself, and then communicate that competently and communicate that often to the right people. And there's so many different platforms today. I mean, 20 years ago, you and I, Brian, we wouldn't have this opportunity outside of television to be able to have this conversation and have it potentially, this could go out to billions of people. I don't know, maybe it'll go out to 2. Who knows? I know it's going to go out to way more than 2, right? But we have the platforms today to be able to share our voice. You have the platforms to be able to take what your God-given unique skill set is and be able to communicate that to others so that they see you and do so systematically. Do so with a system so that you're consistent. Because when you're consistent and do that in a manner that resonates with you, right? So if it's going on Facebook Live, do it. If it's having going on Brian's podcast or being a host of a podcast yourself, do it. But if it's not, then figure out something else to do. And whatever it is in your sweet spot, then do that on steroids, right? Find your sweet spot and then do it like nobody's business. That's your job.
I love it. Perfect, man. That's perfect. Dan, please tell people where they can find you after the show. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I've got a white page report available free, The Death of Potential, why 87% of salespeople quit. And you can get access to that by visiting www.thecpicommunity.com.
Awesome. There it is, folks. We are good to go. We are good to go. I'm so happy and so glad you got on here on the show. Hopefully we can do it again one day. That would be great. But we're out of here. Remember, people, as I always say, build it, share it, and they will come. We'll see you next time. We're out of here.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.